Are you about to PCS to Maryland and you're just trying to get an idea of what it's going to be like? Watch this video. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about PCSing to Maryland. All right, what's up everybody? This is Rob Schou here with EXP Realty in Maryland. If this is your first time on the channel and you want more content about what it's gonna be like to move to Maryland, make sure you click the subscribe button, click the little bell so you're notified every single time we put out new content. You can also scroll down to the first comment and click on the link in there and it will schedule a Zoom meeting one-on-one with me where we can talk about your home buying needs when it comes to moving to Maryland. And last but not least, call me, text me, and I'm happy to help you make those moving decisions when you're moving to Maryland. I'm just a phone call away, and I'm always here to help you. All right, so like I said, today what we're going to be talking about is just PCSing, or like a military permanent change of station move to Maryland. Now this can kind of be for anyone in the military or even someone military adjacent if you're a civilian working for a contractor. But we have different bases all around Maryland, including into DC, that a lot of people are PCSing and moving to. You know, the closest base to me down here in Southern Maryland is Patuxent River. We also have Andrews Air Force Base really close to us. So there's lots of different choices there that people may be moving to. So I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly about moving to Maryland from other areas. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the good first. The good news, of course, is always the best one to start with. I think there's 4 really good things about Maryland. One, it's close to the nation's capital. Now I know that seems like, duh, of course it's close to the nation's capital, but you know, if you're someone PCSing here, you're probably staying for just a few years, and being able to be here with your family and go see all those sites right around DC is just maybe a once-in-a-lifetime experience for you and your kids. So I highly recommend, if you're at Patuxent River or if you're at Andrews Air Force Base, getting to DC, doing the tourist thing, not just once, but multiple times while you're here, because it's an experience worth having. And there's also Baltimore, which is an awesome area, going to catch an Orioles game and a Ravens game. There's just really cool stuff all around. All right, so the number two good thing I would say is there's water everywhere. So if you're someone that's moving here, if you're PCSing here and you love the water, you're in luck. There's lots of little freshwater reservoirs and lakes, but we also have the whole Chesapeake Bay and all of its tributaries. There's tons of charter boat captains, there's tons of fishing guides, and there's tons of opportunities for you to put in your own boat and go fishing. And honestly, there is tons of YouTube videos and content out there, to really help you understand what you're doing, and it can fit any kind of, fishing or boating or skiing or crabbing kind of stuff that you want to do, all within that area. So I love that there's so much water around here. Water is definitely the reason why I love Maryland, and I think a lot of people that PCS here are going to love it as well. Now, kind of piggybacking off of that, number 3, especially if you're up by Andrews Air Force Base, there's lots of hiking. You can actually hike part of the Appalachian Trail that goes right through Maryland. I think it's around 40 miles, and it goes right up the C&O Canal, and it's a really neat hike. My wife and I and my son did it and backpacked it, and it just was super awesome, and it's just filled with history of the area. And for an area that's not too hilly and not too, varied in terrain, it still was an enjoyable, entertaining hike. So it's not just the water, there's also being outside and going and doing hiking and stuff like that. And the last thing is Maryland, on average, is always ranked pretty high as far as schools. Now, each individual school district and each individual county varies, and I really recommend using niche.com to look at the different schools to get a good idea of where you want to be. But as a nation, as a state, Maryland ranks pretty high in the nation according to all the different metrics that are put out there. So that's something that a lot of families are happy about when they come to Maryland. And I'm going to say it again, though, you want to make sure that when you do find out what base you're going to be at, when you do kind of know what area you want to be, that you really drill down and figure out the neighborhoods and figure out, which school you want your kid to be at. And niche.com is awesome for that. So let's go ahead and go to the bad. Now, the number one bad thing is the traffic. Especially around that capital region, the traffic can be awful. DC is constantly ranked pretty high for the worst traffic in the nation. So just be prepared for that. You know, there's alternatives. You can take commuter buses into DC. You can take the, you know, the metro into DC and stuff like that. So there's alternatives to it, but there's really no big way around it. The beltway around DC can just get congested with people, you know, going up to 270 and all those areas. Like it just can get packed. And I think it's one of those things that you almost have to accept or hope that you can get telework, because it's a constant way of life for people that are PCSing to Maryland. All right, my second bad thing is the weather. Now, the reason why I say it's bad, it's kind of everywhere. So in the wintertime, you know, you think it would be cold enough to snow in Maryland, and we just don't get as much snow as we used to. And so that kind of upsets the snow lovers. In the summertime, you know, it's too hot, some people say, too humid. It just is a very wide range of weather that we get here. I will say I enjoy the weather. A lot of people complain about it. I prefer if we didn't have winter, if we didn't have snow, but I love when it's 95 degrees, hot and humid, because I love being on the water. I love jumping into the water, playing in our pool, that kind of stuff. So if you love that warm, humid weather, summers are great. If you like cooler winters without a whole bunch of snow, but enough snow to make a snowman every once in a while, then it's great as well. But you know, it's not going to be those big winters and, you know, cool, you know, low humidity summers here. You're going to be getting some humidity for sure. All right, and so the ugliest home prices, and now this is comparative to other areas. Maryland is definitely higher than the national average. It's not as bad as New York State or California, but it's higher than the national average. The cost of living is high compared to other areas that have military bases, and especially if you're in Andrews Air Force Base and you're looking around the immediate capital region, you're going to spend more money on a home than you would in other bases, even other bases within Maryland like Pax River, which is in St. Mary's County, where you're going to spend a little bit less. So I'd say the ugly, because it can really influence where you live and how you go about your day-to-day, is definitely going to be the home prices for you. A lot of people choose to rent because, you know, it may not be in their cards to, you know, buy that expensive house in the capital region. But more and more, I've been trying to get people to come south of Andrews Air Force Base, be into Waldorf, be into northern Calvert County, and find, you know, those more comfortable price ranges with a little bit longer commute. All right, so hopefully the good, the bad, and the ugly will help you make some decisions about PCSing to Maryland. If you have any questions or need any help, make sure you use that contact information below. Call me, text me, and I'd be happy to help you. You can also scroll down to the first comment, click on the link, and it will schedule a Zoom meeting one-on-one with me, and we can talk about your home buying needs. And last but not least, if you have not yet, make sure you click the subscribe button, click the little bell so you're notified every time we put out new content about moving to Maryland. I hope to see you on the next video.